Okay, so this is a video basically talking about the comments recently made by Keith Thurman regarding Devin Haney fighting at 147. And Keith Thurman said that Devin Haney should be careful at 147 because he could get knocked out. Like, he should be wary of the people's power at 147 because it's a different kettle of fish. Of course, Keith Thurman, being a former unbeaten world champion at welterweight, he would know better than anyone what the welterweight division is like. Even though this is a whole brand new division, this is a whole generation past Keith Thurman at welterweight. But I guess he knows the weight well. And that comment comes off particularly the fight that's been announced between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. Now, Brian Norman Jr. is a seriously world-class boxer, in my opinion. He's a world-class puncher, different style of fighter than Devin Haney. You know, he's definitely a different style, but that's not to say there's only one way to be world-class. You know, Brian Norman can be a world-class boxer puncher, and Devin Haney can be a world-class sort of technician. There are different styles of boxing, right? And of course, Brian Norman Jr. will be the bigger man, the bigger puncher too. Whereas Devin Haney, he's really got no power. Now, the people clown Devin Haney for this, right? But I don't clown him. Like, he's built like a Skeletor, bro. Like, you can't blame him. Like, I see him training. I see him in these fights. He's trying, bro. Like, he at least try. I know the last fight, he didn't, obviously. He was running. He was on the outside running for 12 rounds in the last fight. But Devin Haney normally does try and sort of do that. Like, go for the kill. He's just not got no power, bro. Like, it doesn't even look like he's going for the kill anymore. Because he's got no power to do it. And he's even moving up a weight division now. So I'd imagine he'd have even less power. But you see Devin Haney, his legs are skinny. His body is slender. His arms aren't big. Like, he's just not built to be a big puncher, right? And again, this part of the reason why I actually rate Devin Haney so much is despite his physical disadvantages, he's made a very, very good boxing career for himself. You know, he's not got traditional body mechanics, but, you know, he works with what he got. So he fights to his advantages. He fights to his strengths. He uses his jab very well. I know people were clowning him probably for his fight against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia was countering him a lot. But before that, his jab was very good. And even in his last fight, his jab won him the fight. How many boxers are good enough to fight a 12-round fight and basically win the fight off of using your jab and footwork? People say it's a boring fight, but Devin Haney made that fight boring. But a bad night for Devin Haney is a 12-round decision where he takes no damage. A bad night for a lot of guys is them getting knocked out in the first round. So there's levels to this, right? Not me defending Devin Haney, but he's a very good boxer. He's a very good boxer, and I think despite that Ryan Garcia performance, people need to remember he's had some really good performances there. Beat up George Kambosos Jr., had some success against Lomachenko. He's got a Lomachenko win on his record. Whether he deserved to win that fight, you know, conversations to be had. Beat Jorge Linares. Of course, the Lomachenko fight, I think that Devin Haney, it was either, I forget, it was either the first half or the second half of the fight he won. But it was different halves. It was two different halves of the fight. I think it might have been Devin Haney early on with like body shots, and then Lomachenko came on later in the fight, but it was too little too late, I think, but don't quote me. But again, those are wins on Devin Haney's resume. Of course, Lomachenko is a lot smaller guy, and again, Lomachenko's a lot smaller than Devin Haney. Devin Haney's got like the size advantage against him, right? Which is weird for a guy with that sort of player build. It's almost weird imagining them having like a serious like physical advantage over a guy, but he did against Lomachenko, and he used it. And again, that's what I'm talking about. He doesn't, like I said, doesn't have the traditional physical mechanics for it, but he uses his strengths, boxes to his advantages, right? But yeah, honestly, I think if Devin Haney can beat Brian Norman Jr., he's at the top of the division at welterweight. You know, he's at the top. Like, who's above him? In the ring rankings, it's only Jaron Ennis who's above him. And Jaron Ennis now fights at 154, doesn't he? I'm feeling Ennis is moving up to 154. Because he beat Stanionis comfortably. Again, Jaron Ennis is probably in my opinion one of the best boxers in the world right now. He beats Devin Haney. Oh, he beats him badly as well. It would be worse than the Ryan Garcia fight for sure. For sure, Jaron Ennis would find that chin early. That's the only guy though. If Brian Norman can find that chin, then he'll stop him. But that's if he can find it. He's coming off probably the knockout of the year against Jin Sasaki in Japan. Crazy shot. Could he land that shot on Devin Haney? Probably. And if he does that, he'll stop him. Because if Devin Haney gets knocked down, we saw in the Ryan Garcia fight, his legs are wobbly as hell. Again, he's got stick legs. He's got a slender body build. He's not got the traditional body mechanics. He's not. But I think Devin Haney's a good enough boxer to be able to outbox Brian Norman Jr. And if he can do that, like I said, he's at the top of the division. So we'll see. Because if he can beat Brian Norman Jr., I fancy him to beat all the other top names at welterweight. Yeah, because I think he can outbox all of them. I really do rate Devin Haney. He's a world-class operator. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's next for all those guys. And to be honest, I'm actually liking some of Keith Thurman's commentary recently. If he ever retires, he will retire one day. But when he does, I look forward to him having like a boxing commentary channel or like a Sean Porter podcast or being guest or doing more punditry. I look forward to that because Keith Thurman, he's got a good eye for the sport. Entertaining. I can listen to him talk a lot. And, of course, legendary boxer too. But yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.